Hotel bookings in 2026 carry higher risk than most travelers expect. The visible signals on a booking page often fail to predict the parts of a stay that matter most after check-in. Price and star ratings no longer track room comfort in a reliable way. Renovation cycles move faster than rating systems. Room sizes trend smaller. Add-on fees expand the gap between the advertised price and the real cost. A common assumption needs to be replaced with a more accurate one. Newer listings and higher prices do not automatically mean better sleep, better layouts, or better maintenance. A property can look modern online and still deliver thin walls, uneven housekeeping, and crowded elevators. Another property can appear plain online and still deliver quiet rooms, functional layouts, and consistent upkeep. The risk of choosing wrong is simple and expensive. A bad booking often turns into avoidable noise, poor sleep quality, slow crowd flow, and a room that wastes time and space. The result is a stay that feels less comfortable than the paid price suggests. This video isolates booking rules that reduce regret. The goal is to prevent predictable problems before payment. Each rule is a decision filter that helps narrow choices to the options that match the actual stay needs, not the marketing framing. Comments can note recurring issues seen in recent stays, especially noise sources, hidden fees, and room layout problems. Scope includes urban hotels, resorts, and large-scale properties across budget to upper mid-range. The rules apply to both chain and independent hotels. The relevance period is the 2026 booking environment, where room inventory, pricing structure, and maintenance patterns often change faster than consumer-facing labels. Evaluation criteria for each rule stays consistent: room layout efficiency, noise insulation and noise sources, crowding and elevator flow, location impact on sleep and access, maintenance consistency. Value versus total price after fees. These rules are decision filters, not brand judgments. The focus is on reducing stay friction and aligning the hotel choice with the trip's real purpose. Rule 12. Relying on star rating alone. What this is the habit of using official star level or platform star category as the primary signal of quality. It treats the star label as a shortcut for sleep comfort, room function, and overall reliability. How it affects the actual stay experience. Star systems often reflect facilities and services more than the practical performance of a specific room. A higher star category can indicate a larger lobby, on-site dining, and a wider service menu, while the room itself remains vulnerable to noise, poor layout, or inconsistent upkeep. Star categories also lag behind renovation cycles. A hotel can carry a star label earned years earlier while rooms age unevenly, or while only some floors are renovated. In busy properties, high guest turnover can accelerate wear, which shows up as scuffed flooring, loose fixtures, and worn furniture, even when the property retains the same star category. Star rating alone also fails to capture room downsizing trends. Some properties renovate by adding more keys, which can mean smaller rooms and tighter bathrooms, even while the hotel maintains an upscale label. The stay impact is direct. Smaller rooms reduce comfort, reduce movement space, and make work surfaces less usable. Noise issues often remain invisible in star categories. Thin walls, corridor noise, and HVAC vibration can exist across multiple star levels. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Avoid relying on star rating alone when the priority is sleep quality, quiet, and functional space. This includes light sleepers, travelers with early schedules, and anyone planning an extended stay that depends on desk space and room flow. Star categories can still be used as a rough filter for amenities, but not as a primary predictor of room comfort. Rule 11. Ignoring room square footage details. What this is booking a room type without checking the actual room size or assuming that the same room label means similar space across hotels. It includes skipping square footage, square meters, and layout diagrams when available. How it affects the actual stay experience. Room size is a core driver of day-to-day usability. A smaller room changes how luggage can be opened, where bags can be placed, and whether walking paths remain clear. When square footage drops, the room often loses a functional zone. The desk becomes a narrow shelf. The seating becomes a single chair that blocks movement. The closet becomes a shallow rack that cannot hold larger items. Bathrooms in smaller rooms often reduce counter space and storage, which increases clutter and reduces convenience. Space limits also amplify noise and discomfort. In tight rooms, the bed sits closer to the hallway wall or elevator shaft. Proximity makes corridor noise more noticeable. Air conditioning airflow is harder to manage when furniture placement forces the bed under a vent or close to a noisy unit. Smaller rooms can also feel warmer and more humid, especially in humid climates, because airflow and dehumidification struggle to keep pace. Perceived value changes when space is tight. The nightly price may match larger rooms in the same area, but the usable comfort does not. The stay becomes less restful because the room does not support basic routines without friction. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Ignoring square footage does not suit longer stays, business travel, or trips involving multiple bags, winter clothing, or sports equipment. It also does not suit travelers who plan to spend meaningful time in the room. It suits short overnight stays with minimal belongings where the room is used mostly for sleep and quick hygiene. Rule 10. Booking newly rebranded hotels without renovation proof. This is booking a hotel that has recently changed name, changed management, or changed brand affiliation, while assuming that the change implies a refreshed building. A rebrand can be a sign of improvement, but it can also be purely administrative. A rebrand without renovation proof often leaves the underlying infrastructure unchanged. Infrastructure drives many of the issues that create regret. Older plumbing can cause low water pressure and temperature swings. Older elevators can be slower and more prone to delays. Older windows and wall assemblies can allow more street noise and more temperature leakage. Older HVAC systems can create vibration, uneven cooling, and loud cycling at night. A property can update photos and online descriptions faster than it updates walls, pipes, and ventilation. New signage does not equal better sound insulation. Updated branding does not equal better mattress condition. When the core building remains older, the stay experience can include thin corridor doors, loud ice machines, and noticeable noise transfer between rooms. Maintenance consistency also becomes uncertain during transitions. Staff turnover and vendor changes can disrupt housekeeping routines. Some rooms may be refreshed while others remain worn. The result is uneven quality across floors, where one guest gets a cleaner, quieter room and another gets a room with worn fixtures and more noise. Avoid newly rebranded hotels without renovation proof when sound sensitivity, temperature stability, and room reliability matter. This includes light sleepers and travelers staying multiple nights. It can suit a lower-risk single-night stop where flexibility exists to switch hotels and where the price is clearly lower than comparable options. Rule 9. Choosing location by distance only. What this is selecting a hotel primarily based on how close it is to a landmark, beach, business district, or transit hub, measured by distance or travel time alone. It ignores street-level conditions and the immediate surroundings that shape quiet and access. How it affects the actual stay experience. Distance does not equal rest. Two hotels the same distance from a destination can deliver very different sleep conditions. Proximity to nightlife corridors, major intersections, or transit lines can add night noise, early morning activity, and intermittent sound spikes. Even when windows are closed, low-frequency traffic rumble and sirens can pass through walls and windows, especially in older buildings. Crowding patterns are also location-driven. Hotels near convention centers and stadiums can experience heavy elevator demand during event peaks. Hotels near airports can experience early morning shuttle traffic and rolling suitcases in corridors at dawn. Hotels near popular tourist routes can have constant lobby activity, group arrivals, and higher corridor noise. Location affects comfort beyond noise. A hotel close to a destination but positioned on a busy road can make walking unpleasant and reduce practical access. A hotel slightly farther away but on a quieter street can increase sleep quality and reduce daily friction. Perceived value often changes when location is evaluated only by distance. A hotel may charge a premium for being near a landmark, while the stay includes higher noise and less comfort. The total value can be lower than an option that requires a short transit ride but delivers better rest. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Avoid choosing location by distance only when sleep matters, when early schedules exist, or when the trip depends on consistent rest. It suits travelers prioritizing late-night access over rest, where proximity reduces transportation needs and the trade-off is acceptable. Rule 8. Overlooking elevator-to-room ratios. What this is? This is booking in a large property without considering how many rooms share how many elevators, and how elevator service aligns with peak traffic periods. It includes ignoring reviews and property details that indicate wait times. How it affects the actual stay experience. Elevator capacity shapes daily efficiency. In high-occupancy buildings, elevator demand spikes during breakfast hours, checkout windows, conference breaks, and evening return times. When the elevator-to-room ratio is weak, waits become routine, not occasional. The stay impact is practical. More time is spent in crowded elevator lobbies and schedules become less predictable. Elevator crowding also affects comfort. Crowded elevators increase noise in corridors as groups gather and move. Guests on higher floors feel the impact more because they rely on elevator service for every exit and return. Slow elevators also change how guests use the property. A pool visit, gym visit, or quick run to a nearby store becomes a time cost, not a quick trip. Perceived value drops when a paid stay includes frequent delays. A hotel can be clean and well located, but elevator friction can turn it into a poor match for a time-sensitive trip. In resort properties, elevator congestion can also signal overall crowd density, which often correlates with busy pools, busy breakfast areas, and slower service. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Avoid overlooking elevator-to-room ratios when the trip has tight schedules, early checkouts, or mobility concerns. It also matters for families managing strollers and multiple bags. It can suit travelers staying on lower floors who use stairs when possible, or those with flexible schedules who accept slower movement as part of a large property environment. Rule 7. Assuming resort fees equal added value. What this is treating a mandatory resort fee as proof of useful amenities. The fee is often positioned as access to pools, fitness centers, activities, Wi-Fi, towels, beach chairs, or shuttle services, but the practical value depends on availability and crowding. How it affects the actual stay experience. A resort fee can increase total cost without increasing real comfort. The core issue is not whether amenities exist, but whether they are accessible during the stay. In crowded resorts, pool chairs fill early, towel stations run out at peak times, and reserved areas may require additional spending. Some included activities are limited by schedule, capacity, or sign-up rules that create friction. Resort fees also distort value comparisons. Two resorts may appear similar in base rate, but one has a significant mandatory fee. When fees are added, the total nightly cost can exceed alternatives that include similar amenities without extra charges. The perceived value can drop further when included services are minimal, such as basic Wi-Fi or gym access that should be standard. Crowding interacts with fees in a direct way. When a property sells high occupancy, shared spaces become less comfortable, pools feel full, breakfast areas become congested, elevators and lobbies become louder. A resort fee does not reduce crowding, and it does not guarantee a calmer experience. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Avoid assuming resort fees equal added value when the goal is a quiet, uncrowded leisure stay or when the budget has a firm ceiling. It suits guests who actively use scheduled resort activities, spend time at the pool daily, and treat the property as the primary destination rather than a base for exploring. Rule 6. Booking internal-facing rooms without layout checks. What this is booking rooms that face an atrium, courtyard, pool deck, or interior public space without checking what that interior space is used for. Internal-facing rooms are often marketed as quieter, but the interior environment can amplify noise. How it affects the actual stay experience. Interior spaces act like sound collectors. Noise from events, music, pool activity, and group gatherings can reflect off walls and travel upward. Atriums can carry voices and footsteps, especially when hard surfaces dominate. Pool courtyards can produce early morning setup noise and late afternoon activity noise. Even if street noise is reduced, interior noise can become the primary sleep disruptor. Lighting is also a factor. Interior-facing rooms may have less natural light, and atrium lighting can remain bright into the evening. Reduced daylight can make rooms feel smaller and less comfortable, especially in already compact layouts. Some internal-facing rooms have windows that do not open, which limits ventilation preference and can increase dependence on HVAC noise. Privacy and view quality influence perceived value. Some internal-facing rooms face corridors, balconies, or common areas, which can reduce privacy. If curtains must remain closed for privacy, the room becomes darker and comfort can drop. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Avoid internal-facing rooms without layout checks when sensitive to noise, when early sleep is required, or when a quiet working environment is needed. It can suit travelers who prioritize avoiding street noise and who stay during low occupancy periods when interior spaces are calm. Rule 5. Trusting recent photos without date verification. What this is? This is relying on glossy, high-resolution photos as evidence of current condition without checking when those photos were taken, whether they reflect the booked room type, and whether guest-provided images align with them. How it affects the actual stay experience. Photos can be accurate and still fail to predict current maintenance. A property can photograph a renovated sample room and list it as a representative image while other rooms lag behind. Furniture and carpet wear appear gradually and may not be updated in listings. Bathrooms can look clean in photos while suffering from grout wear, ventilation issues, or drainage problems. Lighting and angles also influence perceived space. Wide-angle lenses make rooms appear larger and brighter than they feel. A room that looks spacious online can be tight in reality, which affects luggage placement and movement. Photos rarely capture noise risks such as elevator proximity, bar adjacency, or thin corridor doors. Condition mismatch affects perceived value immediately. The stay begins with a gap between expectation and reality. When the room looks older than the paid price suggests, satisfaction drops even if the room is technically functional. If maintenance is inconsistent, small issues accumulate. Loose outlets, flickering lights, weak shower pressure, or uneven cooling. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Avoid trusting recent photos without date verification when cleanliness standards are strict, when the room will be used for work, or when comfort expectations are high relative to budget. It suits flexible travelers with low visual expectations, especially on short stays where minor wear is tolerable and price is the primary factor. Rule 4. Ignoring floor-level selection. What this is? This is accepting the default room assignment without considering floor level, or assuming that floor level does not change noise, safety perception, light, and overall rest quality. Many bookings do not force a floor choice, but floor level remains a controllable variable. How it affects the actual stay experience. Lower floors often carry more noise. Street traffic, delivery trucks, and lobby activity are more noticeable closer to ground level. If the hotel has a bar, restaurant, or event space, sound can rise into lower floors and corridors. In busy hotels, low floors also experience more foot traffic because they are closer to common areas and elevators. Higher floors often reduce street noise and increase privacy, but they can also introduce other issues. Some high floors are closer to mechanical rooms, rooftop bars, or HVAC equipment that produces vibration. The key is not simply high versus low, but understanding what sits above, below, and adjacent. Floor level can also affect comfort through temperature and humidity. In some buildings, upper floors receive more sun exposure, which can increase heat load. In others, lower floors feel more damp or less ventilated. The result is a direct impact on sleep comfort, especially when HVAC performance is inconsistent. Perceived value improves when floor selection matches needs. A quiet floor reduces the chance of fragmented sleep. A floor away from event spaces reduces sudden noise spikes. A floor aligned with elevator access reduces long corridor walks for travelers with mobility issues. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Ignoring floor-level selection does not suit multi-night stays, early schedules, or light sleepers. It also does not suit travelers who value privacy and reduced corridor noise. It can suit a one-night stay where flexibility is high and the traveler can tolerate a higher chance of noise. Rule 3. Treating flexible cancellation as optional. What this is? This is choosing non-refundable or highly restrictive rates for small discounts, treating cancellation flexibility as a luxury rather than a practical protection. It often happens when the displayed savings seems meaningful at checkout. How it affects the actual stay experience. Cancellation flexibility protects against mismatches discovered after booking and against unavoidable changes. In 2026 pricing, small discounts for non-refundable rates can carry a large downside. If a hotel reveals new construction nearby, changes policies, or experiences service disruptions, a flexible rate preserves the ability to pivot. Flexibility also protects against room-level problems that are not visible at booking. If a room type turns out to be smaller than expected, faces a loud area, or has maintenance issues, changing hotels may be the most efficient fix. A non-refundable booking limits that option and forces the stay to continue in a suboptimal environment. Noise, crowding, and layout issues matter more when the stay is longer. A minor problem can become a daily annoyance. Flexible booking reduces the risk of being locked into a poor fit. The perceived value is higher when options remain open, even if the initial rate is slightly higher. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Treating flexible cancellation as optional does not suit travelers with variable schedules, multi-night stays, or strict comfort needs. It also does not suit peak periods when nearby alternatives can sell out or become more expensive. It suits single-night, low-risk stays where plans are fixed, expectations are modest, and the discount is meaningful relative to total cost. Rule 2. Not separating total price from base rate. What this is comparing hotels using the headline nightly rate without calculating the final total after taxes, service charges, resort fees, parking, and add-ons. It treats the base rate as the true price. How it affects the actual stay experience. Total price controls value and value controls satisfaction. Two hotels can appear similarly priced at first glance, but the final totals can differ significantly. Mandatory fees can shift a hotel from competitive to overpriced. Parking charges can change the cost structure for road trips. Urban destination fees can add nightly cost without adding comfort. The practical stay experience also changes when budget is pressured by hidden costs. A traveler may downgrade room type, accept a noisier location, or reduce meal and transit options to compensate. That creates an indirect comfort loss caused by pricing structure rather than by the hotel itself. Total price awareness improves decision quality because it reveals the real comparison. A hotel with a higher base rate but fewer fees may deliver better value. A hotel with a lower base rate but heavy fees may not be a bargain. When total price is clear, it becomes easier to allocate budget toward the variables that affect sleep and comfort, such as room size, quieter location, or a better floor level. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? Not separating total price from base rate does not suit budget-sensitive planning, families booking multiple rooms, or longer stays where fees multiply. It also does not suit road trips where parking is a major cost driver. It suits almost no one as a strategy because total price is the actual payment. The safer approach is to compare final totals before deciding. Rule 1. Matching hotel type to stay purpose. What this is selecting a hotel based on the trip's functional needs rather than the hotel's branding, visual style, or popularity. It matches the property's strengths to the stay objective, and it avoids properties optimized for a different type of guest. How it affects the actual stay experience. Trip purpose determines which variables matter most. A work-focused stay needs a quiet room, stable Wi-Fi, usable desk space, and predictable morning routines. A leisure stay may prioritize outdoor access, pool function, and on-site services, but still needs sleep protection and manageable crowding. A family trip needs layout flexibility, storage, and smooth elevator access. A short overnight stop needs efficiency and low friction during check-in and check-out. Hotel types are built with different priorities. Large convention hotels often optimize for volume, which can increase lobby crowding, elevator demand, and noise during event peaks. Boutique properties may offer quieter corridors but smaller rooms and limited services. Airport hotels can be efficient but may suffer from early shuttle noise and thin walls due to older building stock. Resorts may offer amenities but can be crowded and fee-heavy, changing the value equation. When hotel type matches purpose, comfort improves because the room and property support the stay's routine. Sleep quality improves when the hotel environment aligns with expected quiet periods. Layout usability improves when room space fits luggage and movement. Perceived value improves when paid features are used and friction points are minimized. Who should avoid it or who it suits best? This rule suits all travelers prioritizing outcomes over branding. It is most important for travelers who have strict needs, such as light sleepers, remote workers, families, and travelers on tight schedules. The key avoidance is choosing a hotel type designed for a different audience, such as picking a high-volume event property for a quiet rest-focused stay, or picking a minimalist micro-room concept for a multi-night trip with heavy luggage. Hotel choice in 2026 improves when the decision is based on practical variables, not surface labels. The strongest results come from filtering for sleep quality, usable layout, manageable crowd flow, and the true total price. Not all hotels work for all travelers, and not all room types work for all trips. Matching the hotel to the stay purpose reduces regret more than chasing a rating, a photo set, or a headline price. Subscribe for additional hotel decision guidance built around room comfort, noise control, and value clarity. Comments can share recurring booking issues that deserve a clear rule.